Taking a quick ride today. It is Super Sunday. And I'm mic'd up, which is a rarity for me. I don't usually bother with that. Just figure I have very little to say. Certainly not invested in talking about the small talk of my life. It's a kitty catter around the corner. Okay. I'll put some music on in a minute. Somebody opened the gate for me. That's nice. The packages everywhere. Okay. So I'm coming off a private road on Quail Ridge and going on Bear Creek. But I often will stop, go ahead and get my tunes straightened out here. Which in this case is yeah, so I'll ride with the thing opened up. Don't know if you get any motorcycle noises or not. Typically not with this mic setup. I ride really easy when I first start out. I'm not warmed up. Tires are not warmed up. Road's not warmed up. Do know the road pretty well. This road is kind of notorious for having a bunch of off-camber turns, or tight turns that have no bank to them at all, like this one. Running up to the ascending right-hand hairpin here catches a lot of people unawares. I do it in first gear, kind of walk it around. Never a problem. It's pretty brisk, 59 degrees. Yeah, I get some grips on. Don't expect a lot of traffic. Like I said, I know the road pretty well. A bit of an experiment, miking up like this. I think I've only tried it once before. I just didn't ever have anything to say. And if this makes it to YouTube, which it might or might not, I guess you might tell me whether I had anything to say or not. You'll notice I pretty much use the quick shifter throughout here. It's really only at my convenience when I use the clutch. And if you didn't notice, I'm driving an R1250 RT. It's a 2024 model. I've had it about a month, nearly new when I got it. No cars coming there. These roads can be dangerous. People fall up here all the time. Mostly people that don't know what they're doing. The shadows in the winter can hold water and ice and pools of pine needles after a storm. I don't think I'll be doing the one-way section today. I'm going to go to Boulder Creek instead. It's a nice little kind of solemn section coming up that I like. So I came off of a R1250 RS and bought the RT. And prior to that, I had a R1250 GS. By the way, all three of these bikes were triple black. So I guess I keep my channel going anyway. Here we go. Nice little section coming up. There's a right-hand, sharp right-hand turn. You never know what cars are going to do up here, or deer, or anything else, but here's a little section I like. Followed by a stop sign where the road's out. Well, it was only a bicycle, I guess I can make it. Hope this guy stops. Now, I really love this next part. We're going to come out of the shadows and just burst into the sunlight. And if you don't know the road, it can be a little disconcerting. But in my case, kind of know the road pretty well. I love this kind of like come out of the darkness into the shade, out from the shade into the sunlight. I call this section here the Rabbit Runs, which is after named a section of the Kirkwood ski area is called the Rabbit Runs up on the top of the cliff. And there was one turn that was marked as being pretty tight. The rest of them are just not marked, you know? It's kind of narrow and a little winding, but then you can have a PG&E truck or a propane truck or a septic truck. It just doesn't matter. There's some big trucks up here. They're the mission to people that just drive that way. But I like this little section here. I know it well enough to actually say I like it. To the right is 35, but we're going on down to Boulder Creek, and then we'll take Highway 9. And it's supposed to be 35. I don't know what that's relating to. Again, some interesting curves and sections here. Some in the shade, some in the sun. It's been a while since there's been a storm, so the road should be pretty good. few bumps here and there. And I'm actually in road mode. Let me change that to dynamic, which I kind of need in this situation. It makes a lot of difference being in dynamic on the RT. The bike is actually a little sluggish in road mode, but then I came off of an RS, and whatever you want to say about it, the RS is not sluggish. So it's 2026, and if you do the math, I started riding motorcycles in 1971, at least riding them on the street. But it was the last 2 years before this bike on the RS that I learned a bunch of skills that I just never had learned before, for any number of reasons. When I started riding again, I went back, I used to ride Nortons back in quote unquote the day. And when I went back to riding after a long separation, I went to the local Triumph dealer and I bought a Speedmaster. And I enjoyed that Speedmaster. I actually did a lot of customization on it, and that was can't remember the displacement, 884 or something like that. Anyway, it was 2005. It's a fairly quick bike once you actually do all the shit to it you need to do. But I didn't learn anything new. I got reacquainted with riding, but I didn't learn anything new while I was riding it. Then I got 2005. I bought an 06. I still had the Speedmaster, but I bought an 06 Rocket 3.
Just a snap of my really delightful Rocket 3 back when I had it.
Which I really miss. What a great bike. And this is a great little section of the road here. I also had an 06 or 07 Tiger 1050.
This is my Tiger 1050. I put a atrocious number of miles on it, never let me down. Really a fabulous motorcycle.
Which I also loved.
Yeah, I liked the Tiger 1050 so much I bought a Tiger 1200. I lost both of them in a fire and don't have a very good picture of them.
So let me mention something before I go too far. One of the things I can do on this RT that I was not able to perfect on the RS was on the RS, when I would pound into a turn with the brakes on, I inevitably ended up with a lot of weight on my wrists, and therefore really on my thumbs, in the palm of my hand and on my thumbs. And essentially the riding position is enough different in the RT, so when I want to, I can still trail brake hard into a turn, but I kind of use the rear brake and my core physical strength and remain upright, and without gripping the bars real tight and without getting a lot of weight on my hands. And I don't know if I went and rode the RS again if I could do that. I think RS just doesn't have the riding position, just doesn't lend itself to doing that. So the riding position, I'm going to slow down pretty hard, and I don't have any weight on my wrist when I'm doing that. I'm able to sit upright kind of and use my core strength to keep the weight off my hands. And I think it's an important part of comfort for me. I hate coming back from a ride. Like, you go for an hour and a half ride and come back and your hands hurt for 2 days. You know? And then if I took the RS out for a longer tour, rode to Death Valley or something, I mean, it's 760 miles each way. Then I started noticing tightness in my shoulders and a very stiff neck from having my head kind of cocked back so I could look forward, because I was leaning a little forward. Now, I gave a lot of thought to making changes to the RS, make it a little better touring bike. And I think I could have made it better, but I have no idea whether it would have been, I could have ever made it acceptable for really long rides. There are a lot of other obvious differences between the RS and the RT. The RT looks huge. It's actually 80 pounds heavier than the RS. And like anything else, a lot of that weight is down low in the R bikes. Getting a little chillier here at 57 degrees. I just don't think I ever could have made the RS into the bike I needed to do longer distances. And even short distances after 2 years and 10,000 miles, 12,000 miles on it. You know, my neck hurt consistently all the time, and not my wrists really, but my hands. My hands actually kept hurting, because try as you might to keep from gripping the bars, if you're going to ride hard in this area, then a little chilly. I'm going to put that up a bit. When you ride hard here, I mean, this road has got really, I don't know what people mean when they say twisties. I consider this fairly twisty. I'm riding easy. Got cars coming in. It's a residential area. But we have roads around here that are really tight. This ain't one of them. This road was pretty good for the RS. But what I really learned on the RS was, you see, the RS is kind of the opposite of a bike that's flickable. It's unflickable. And I know everybody thinks, oh, I need a flickable bike, but the RS is very stubbornly holds its line and requires really significant counter steer to get the bike to bend over in really sharp turns. And I loved that, actually. But I learned a lot doing it. You know, when you ride bikes where you never even really are aware that you're counter steering, you know, they're kind of almost telepathic. You've got big bars, and it's kind of enjoyable, but it also gets to be a little boring for me. A little, not very engaging is actually the better term. I can always ride fast enough to make it unboring, if you know what I mean. I'm really talking about how much fun it is to ride at normal speeds. So for me, the GS, I mean, all three of these bikes had the same motor, and from what I understand, the same transmission, even if they don't have the same final drive ratio. So 2 years on the GS, as much as I loved it, and I started becoming aware of the kind of lack of engagement, you know, lack of being involved in the riding experience while I was riding it, at least on these roads, which was all I was doing at the time. So I traded that in and got the RS, which certainly fixed that problem. The RS is a super motorcycle that, you know, you were in direct, really constant contact with the pavement all the time. There's no sense of remoteness or distance. And if you don't know how to counter steer, and I don't mean just lightly, then you're going to have trouble on some of these roads here. At least you can't ride them fast. Not that I'm riding fast today, that's not the point. Just out having fun in the morning. It's really wonderful that so much of what's wonderful about each of those three bikes is in common between them, because I love the motor, and I think the RT is the best bike for me of the three. But back when I was buying the GS, I couldn't afford an RT, and the same thing for the RS. So it's 26, this is a 24, but it only had 1,700 miles on it. So I picked it up used at the dealer, and I saved 10 grand off the original, more than 10 grand off the original purchase price of the bike. I would say the handling on the RT is somewhere in between. You're aware that you're doing counter steering. I mean, it's significant, not insignificant, I should say. Whereas on the GS, you couldn't even know when you were doing it. It's like the bike's reading your mind or something. With all three bikes, as you learn them, these really true of these BMWs anyway for me is they just become a real extension to your body. You know, it becomes very automatic. There's a couple of riders. To the left is I'm going right, but to the left is Boulder Creek. People always hate it that I actually stop at stop signs. I don't want to get swiped by somebody. Sometimes I think my vision isn't the best it could be. And I mean, kind of like, not my eyes, but the way my brain works. I actually like riding at night. Assuming everybody's got their lights on, it works pretty well. The RT is flickable, the GS is flickable. The RS is not, and it's something to be liked. That's not legal for him to be on that four drainer down here. We'll see if I got cars on the Highway 9 on the way up. It's okay. Some of the people I ride with are so impatient. They just can't stand, doesn't matter how fast the car is going, they can't stand to be behind one. And I'm not that way. So far, the only criticism I really have of the RT is that it would be nice if the suspension had a little more travel, at least in road mode. Excuse me. There's reasons to want to do that. See, so many people I know would pass right here. I just don't feel the need. It will be a little unhappiness if these people are ahead of me all the way to Saratoga. Maybe I can get them to pull over, or maybe they're going somewhere. Similar to the RS, the rear wheel, a lot of highway patrol there, sheriffs, the rear wheel can skip out a bit. Can be, what do they like to call it? The rear suspension loses its composure on these R bikes sometimes. It has a lot to do with what tire you've got. This bike has the Michelin Road 5 GTs, so a very stiff sidewall, a little bit more likelihood to skip out than the rear. No speed limit. Cool. I just heard they're changing all the speed limits around here. They're going to decrease them. Nobody pays attention to them anyway, so watch me get a ticket. It's not 25, it's Sunday. We can pretty much ride through the winter around here, and I ride with two fingers over the front brake most of the time. Feels comfortable for me. Which means I have two fingers that are frozen, because they're not in contact with the heated grip. I could wear warmer gloves, but there are reasons not to. So like I said, I learned a whole lot on the RS. I started deliberately trying to trail brake as an art form, if you will, on the GS. I was never quite sure if I understood it or if I was getting it right. And the explanations online, YouTube, etc., didn't make very much sense to me around here. I mean, it didn't seem like I was doing anything any different than anything else. But on the RS, I did learn to do new things. There's a lot of people out today. Popular road. I started out, I just finally learned how to trail brake, per se, which is nothing really very complicated when you think about it. But the issue I had was that, not on this road so much, but on roads with tight twisties. This road doesn't qualify as being super twisty. Um, if you trail brake the way they teach you to online, anyway, you end up slowing down too much in the curves. You just have to. You got to have the throttle up through the whole twisty little bit. So like you're backing off to maybe half throttle and fine tuning your speed in the middle of the turn up to the apex, so that when you actually see the exit, once you see the exit, you can hammer it, and you're not starting from with an engine that's in a low RPM, low torque configuration. This bike is so nice. Anyway, you're starting out with an engine that's a full power, or close to full power as you hit the apex. Now all that depends on getting it right. Obviously, you're going to have to be in the right gear, and you got to get a lot of things right, just like with any other thing in riding. You got to be in a good gear. You got to maybe know the road. This is the easy stuff here. Really fun. Nice, beautiful road. I'm in third. I'm going to drop it to second because I'm going to come around here and there's a big climber here, and you can't know what other people are doing in it. It's not necessarily safe to zoom it because somebody else may have a freak out. Yeah. Yeah. Some great little turns right down here at the bottom that are easy to misjudge, like this one right here. It's actually pretty tight. Part of this has to do with how to ride an R bike in the twisties, or any bike that's high torque. I think if I was riding an inline four, maybe some of this discussion wouldn't be pertinent. I didn't need first gear. See that? Talk about the quick shifter. All right. These turns are all off camber for the most part. Some of them pretty tight. Seen cars off the road here. We're coming up to the junction. Big basin will be to the left. The road was closed for years due to fire and storm damage. It's a good stretch coming up here. So this bike feels a lot like a cross in a way, like a GS and an RS had a child. The GS is nearly as heavy. You pick up weight with speakers and crap that this has. I probably never use them, but keeping my eyes open. I am listening to a little music in the background. A little place for the bathroom up on top. I think I'll probably stop there. This is a great section coming up here. Over. Yeah. I used to scrape my left foot here all the time on the GS. I was 6 years younger, or whatever. Obviously caught up with somebody here. The RT feels very comfortable. I mean, everybody says that. I can second that. But we'll be able to pass this dude up ahead if the road's clear. That's nice of him. So the couple of things about, again, I mean, tips or tricks about riding a 1250. One of them is, don't be afraid to abuse it. It's a really strong motor. You can hammer it right out to red line, when the little white thing starts blinking wherever you got that set. And when you did that with the RS, man, it really flew. This bike too. You suddenly find yourself going a lot faster than you intended. The sensation of speed is muted. Doesn't matter when you're going into a turn, whether it's muted or not, you're still going that fast. So when you're riding a 1250, I mean, use the whole motor. You don't sit around and just short shift all the time. Like roads like this, I'm just in third and fourth usually all the time. Third and second, maybe even. Yeah. And certainly people ride a lot faster, ride bikes that are a lot faster. People die up here. A guy died just within the last week. I don't know exactly where, but somewhere on this road where we're on right now, on a 600cc sport bike. The only description talked about the bike impacting the road, and he flew off into the bush. And a lot of the people, many who ride this road, know it like I do, kind of like by the back of their hand. you know. I mean, you just know it completely. I'm going to take a break, see what kind of yahoos are here. You can see it's a popular place to ride. Yeah, I think if I didn't have a hump on my back, I couldn't go so fast. Yeah. Anyway, people come up here and pretend they're doing track days. Look at these guys. See, it's not necessarily safe to ride up here sometimes. You just don't know what you're going to run into. A bunch of yahoos. Maybe I'm a yahoo. I'll be the yahoo that runs into somebody. We'll see. As I got older, I stopped having any interest in doing something fast on four wheels at all. I mean, less and less and less. I just don't care. So there's a curiosity. A lot of people have talked about the quick shifter on these R bikes. They're so critical of it. Here's an observation. I'm not going to say exactly how long it takes, but it takes time to learn how to ride this motorcycle in an aggressive way, or even in, you know, it takes time. So if I was a reviewer, I said, oh gee, I took this out on a demo ride, let me tell you what it's all about. Even if I said I had it for 2 weeks, and I'll tell you what it's all about. It's bullshit. They can't tell you what it's all about. That's probably a pretty good criticism. Motorcycle at this price level shouldn't require so much frickin' learning to learn how to ride it properly and really appreciate its points. But that's the way it is. And so, you know, after years of riding the same motor, even on different bikes, but I'm in the same motor, right? Same motor, same transmission, same quick shifter, different software versions and such over the years. You know, I just learned how to use the shifter on this. And we're going to see one of the interesting things here that can be a little disconcerting at times. If you're going down into Saratoga now, suppose you want to do a downshift to get some engine braking, and you go to use the quick shifter to do it. Somewhere in your mental calculations, you're just assuming that you're planning to use that quick shifter, and it'll, you know, if your throttle's closed, you're locked out in some situations. And so you actually find yourself diving into a corner, probably downhill like this, and the throttle's completely closed, and you actually have to open it slightly. It's a little ballsy in order to drop it into gear. Otherwise, it actually feels like there's something blocking you from doing the shift. Now, originally, when I was feeling that, I didn't understand it, of course. I just, you know, went with it, said, oh, shit, you know, whatever the hell that is. And I don't know really what it is today, only I know when to expect it. And as disconcerting as it may be, when I need to downshift like that, I have to crack the throttle open a little. Bad line, sorry. Pay more attention now instead of talking. But this is the bottom side of Highway 9 coming into Saratoga. Again, these are mostly what we around here, at least, I would consider sweeping twisties. Very good for the RS. Again, I'm on an RT, but these are beautiful turns for an RS to make. RS wants to stand up and go straight. Doesn't want to lean over, doesn't want to be twitched from side to side. And it's very stubborn about that. It takes mastery and sometimes brutal countersteer to get it to do what you want. But in that process, you're learning things you never knew you could learn that were applicable to bikes that are much more compliant, like the RT or the GS. I've also ridden it was a loaner bike, an R12 K1200R up here, and it was much like the RS. It just requires a kind of brutality on the part of the rider uh, in certain turns to force it to do what you need it to do. See, I've got some brake on through the whole turn there on the front brake. But this RS allows me to keep the weight off my hands. Of course, it has this giant windscreen that when the time comes and I have to do big long slab rides to get from A to B, is going to be very handy to have. I'm really not using the clutch in here. I mean, I don't have a problem with the quick shifter. I know people do, but I can make that left turn and go down Stevens Canyon Road, which is fun. That's a hairpin there. A little unpredictable. It can be wet and slippery in there. Whoa. Stay away from the guy on the bicycle. We're going to come around a little turn here. A guy died here not long ago. He, for some reason, crashed into the trees right in here on the left. I'm not sure why. Pilot error, I guess that's what they say. Yeah. Coming up on a car. We're almost down. The road's going to slow down. It's actually going to get increasingly twisty near the bottom. Twistier than this. I think there's a spot he can let me by if he chooses. Brakey, brakey. Didn't bother restarting the music after my break. I have a pure CarPlay system on my old Triumph, and it always restarts playing everything when I need it to. I'm going to come into a bridge here. This was washed out in a construction scene for about 3 years. what is that? Saratoga Springs or something like that. So that's a little bit of my discussion. I could talk more about, and maybe I will, about the GS, RS, and RT. Unless I'm actually going to go do fire roads, which I'm not, I see no reason to have a GS, to be honest. I'm 6'1", but that doesn't tell the whole story about leg space, like on this bike. I did not find on the RS, which is sportier than this, I did not find that my legs got really cramped. That was not a complaint I had. In fact, they have, I guess, it's kind of a rear set on the RS. It made me feel sort of like you were hooking up or hooking in, strapping in when you get your feet on those rear pegs. It's just something the RS felt like. And that was a good feeling. I like that feeling. On this bike, they're kind of underneath me. My legs probably have more bend than would be comfortable for some people, but just because I'm 6'1" doesn't mean much. I think inseam matters. I think people who want to address ergonomics on bikes should be talking about what their inseam measurement is and how long their arms are. I don't even know what my sleeve measurement is. I used to know. When you bought clothes, it used to be you had to know all that stuff. Not so much here. There's a huge leap here. You could fly off this thing going fast where this car just went. I've caught air off that damn thing. And I didn't mean to. It was kind of a, accidental air. This guy's annoying me. Could he pull over a little bit? Oh, God, thank you. So there's some really tight turns coming up before we actually get into town. That's not one of them. People fool themselves on some of these. Of course, I got a car in front of me again. Those are his brake lights? Weird. Some kind of electric mobile, huh? And we're going into town, which is fine. Ride's almost over. Get a quick spot through Linden Canyon. It's very pretty through here. Residential, obviously you hold it down. There's an old house there. Some of the richest people in the world have homes here. Doesn't mean they live here, but something's going on. Some asshole walked across a crosswalk, probably. Ho-de-do, ho-de-do. So the RS was not flickable, but you could do this. I mean, it rotates fine. But if you want to ride it on, and if you're watching this, if you know any of the roads around here, you want to ride the RS on roads like Alba Road, go ride it up Alba Road, go up Mount Hamilton, go up Alba Road, go up Metcalf, Jamison Creek. I'm talking about going uphill on all of those. Downhill's always easier. The RS not that it's difficult to ride, but on those really twisty roads, you need to be the master. I mean, you absolutely have to muscle the bike, particularly to the right, which is like most people have. That's their weak side, is the right. So if you require a lot of counter steer at the same time that you're trying to manage so you're trying to manage the brakes, the clutch, the throttle, and you're trying to counter steer to the right as you're climbing through, linked hairpin turns. I found you actually have to push the bike, and the RS has to be pushed over to the right. And when it does, it turns just fine. But you can't expect to just like change your body weight or something, or turn the bars a little bit, and expect that you're gonna get around those turns and not find yourself mid-turn, kind of heading off the wrong side of the road. So I'm saying with the right hand over here, you got to put a lot of force down. And learning to do that was fun. This might sound bad, but it's crazy fun. And it's a skill I can practice and I now use on the RT. One more thing on the RT. It still looks big to me. If I'm standing next to it, I don't even ride with the bags in the rear. If I'd used them, why would I have them? But I've had the bike a month, and in a month I have put on about 2,000 miles just riding around these hills. It doesn't feel big. I knew it was going to be like that. I took an RT out several times as a service loaner.
I found a snap of one of the RT loaners that I had.
When I was getting my RS and earlier the GS serviced. It wasn't my bike. I didn't want anything to go wrong, so I didn't push it. There was one time I had a much older R1250 RT with some lot of sunburn on it. I was less careful with that. Didn't drop it or anything. I'm just saying I explored its handling and such. So I knew pretty much what I was going to have when I bought this bike. It's everything I thought it would be. Everything I expected. Nice stale green light up ahead. We'll see if it stays green while I get there. Another one after this. And we're back on Highway 17 heading home. Nice little run. I still hand signal. I learned to do that when motorcycles didn't have turn signals on them. The RT just loves dipping and falling into turns. That's the way the GS felt too. It's got an eagerness to it. That is really fun. I love this road. I like Linden Canyon here. We're just a short section. I'm not getting anything from Moyes telling me there's a cop up here. It's good on the sidecar. It's good on anything. Sometimes I could reach out and touch this concrete wall. The GS and the RT give you a feeling. It's like having a good dance partner that really knows you well. Oh, high patrol right ahead. Hi, guy. And so it's like a dance partner that you're really in tune with. I feel that way on the RT. The RS feels like a bike where you have to teach it what to do every time you get on it. It's not a compliant like bike in that sense. I have a feeling the R1350 RS is even more that way. The RS just has a lot more trail than the R, or the effective trail rate on GS and RS. So it's Lexington Reservoir on both sides here. A beautiful day. Any day on two wheels is a beautiful day. When you've got nothing to prove. Fourth gear. I like this turn in second gear, but you got to drop to first if you got some Lobo in front of you, like possibly this guy who's going too slow. Our bikes are just wonderful. So there's first gear. No problem. No problem, man. No problem. Okay, you gonna do it? I like to stop at stop signs. Just my habit. If somebody hits me, it's not going to be because I floated a stop sign, I think. This is kind of my driveway going home here. He's going to slow me down a bit, but man, I can come through here pretty quick. There's often deer and shit. I shouldn't be doing that, but it's the way it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah. An exercise in slowing down. Speed limit's actually 25 here, so I shouldn't whine and complain too hard. A lot of times people, they'll pull over in my driveway to let me by, and I've got to, Jesus, this person's really struggling through here. So they'll pull over to let me by, and it's my driveway. They're blocking my driveway.